What's up, gang? Happy full moon. We are back. Signs and headlines.
Yay!
Ta-da!
Welcome back, or I'm happy to be back, or we're back. Let's
We're
do it.
really-
We're back in business.
It's like, I don't know why I felt the need to break out in a song like celebratory, but this is a Gemini full moon special episode. I can't stop. I can't stop. You take over. How was your week, Camille? How was your full moon?
As a Gemini rising, I'm used to the kind of, back and forth of Gemini and Mercurial stuff. So I've just been riding the waves. It's nothing new or different for me. It's a little bit quiet over here, which is why I
Hmm.
think there's going to be I feel like I experienced my full moon low-key like 2 days after the full moon. So I'm like, I wonder what that's gonna be. But it's been pretty good. Mostly me just munching on a whole bunch of like media tidbits that have been fun.
You know what? There has been so much content. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, this time of year, now that I'm like more aware of my chart in terms of like the seasons and how that shows up in this new life as an astrologer, I'm literally like, holy shit.
Hmm.
Sagittarius season is just non-stop
That's
headline
so true.
content just because it's my second house is just boom 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 ruled in for my 10th. There is no holiday, there is no break, there is no slow down during Sagittarius season, so I just gotta ride the wave until
That's typical
Aquarius
Sag.
season.
Yeah. Fire
Let's
gotta keep on
go.
propelling itself forward.
Oh my gosh. And also on my oh my gosh, on my page, I don't know what happened. I don't know what I posted. No, I know what I posted. I posted Travis Kelce this week, and we're gonna talk about Travis Kelce this week.
Hmm.
And everyone came for the Sagittariuses in the DMs. Everyone was like, Sagittarius. I mean, which is fair. But then, like, all this other stuff about Sagittariuses, all this shadow sides that I had never heard of in like my life about
Like
Sagittariuses. I'm like,
what? I want to know.
there was like, well, one was there was something about like, yes, manifest destiny, but the idea of like that being with like children, for example, and like keeping like reproduction in that way. I'm like, yeah, ruled
Mm.
by Jupiter, that makes sense. But it was like all these part, and here's the thing. The slander has basis and truth. It's not like I'm saying, God, there's slander and I can't take it. It's like, oh my God, the truth is too real. Like, stop it, DMs.
It is.
But also shout out, it is my dad's birthday this weekend. He's one of the saggiest men I know. Rest in peace. But
Mm.
also, I'm sure he is entirely thrilled with all the content that is happening because he was a man of the world.
Just beyond the veil, watching it all, taking it all in. Life never
Yeah.
truly ends for Sag.
It's true. I mean, here's the thing. I feel like this week, I don't know what happened in your life necessarily, but you know, in my corner of the woods and my clients, like with the Grand Water Trine, it has with this Mercury retrograde this week, after Mercury station direct, it just felt like all of a sudden, the people that maybe like were holding on like, boop, they decided to go, and there was just a lot more death this week than
Mm.
I anticipated because we had just come out of Scorpio season, and I'm like, oh my God, okay,
Yeah.
this in between transition as Mercury clears the retrograde, still in retrograde till December 16th. So we've got a few more days.
There's also something about like the dwindling of the light as we get closer to the darkest moment of the year that
Ugh.
also feels very like veil is thinning and like, yeah, yeah.
What time does the sun set in DC for you?
God. Well, it's already pitch black right now. I think it's probably like 5:30 p.m. or something.
Ugh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like here in the East Coast. Let me
yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a window right in front of me, and usually by
4:45.
yeah, there we go. I was like, 4 o'clock already feels like the sky is falling. So you're
Yeah. There's like just an ache or a melancholy that comes with it. So I'm not at all
mm,
surprised to hear that loss is just like a pervasive theme, especially around the holidays. Like it's heavy times. I think
yeah.
Sagittarius is like that one last party we get before we really have to go into like the dregs of winter.
I mean, I don't even know if we get like a break this year, because in a weird way, I know like people were annoyed that these last couple of years, like, oh, you're starting the new year in like in a retrograde
Yeah.
period. And I'm like, yeah, but like that's not so bad. Like, do you really want to like wake up and then go, okay, let's go, right off the bat? Like, no, ease in, like figure it out. But this year, it kind of feels like because Mars moves into Capricorn on December 15th, like
Mm.
boom. Sorry, no sleep, no club. What does Gaga say?
There's a club, airport. I don't know what it is, but the
No
people get it.
sleep,
Yeah.
club, repeat.
Airport. Yeah. You know what's
Teacher.
so funny that we're also heading into the year of the horse, which is so
Yes.
symbolic with that Mars exalted in the Capricorn, a cardinal sign, right? Wanting to get going and like just keep moving. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's something about like there's some action or some major development around the corner and like
Mm-hmm.
rest maybe can't ever truly be had. But we're finishing
Yeah.
out the year of the snake, so all of our skins are shedding and that raw newness is coming through. So it feels a little pokey right now.
Crossing fingers, honestly. The
Yeah,
chrysalis is always the most brutal part, right? Like
it
you think the
is.
process is beautiful, but then you're like, no, it's icky.
It's
There's like,
disgusting in there. I can't
ugh.
even see. Yeah.
Bringing this episode back to the week at hand before we get too far ahead into the future. Let's see what happened this week. We had Venus moving to Sagittarius to kick
Okay.
off the week. So you already knew that this tone was going to be a big shift. I mean, God, Venus and Scorpio at that last late degrees, trining, finishing the grand water trine was like,
Yeah, and opposite Uranus. So it's like one final shock, one final like thing. So
mm-hmm.
entering Sagittarius for me felt like a little bit of a relief. There's just like always levity, and Venus in a Jupiter sign just feels like a party.
Yeah, God bless. Although excess is in the
Yes,
air, ladies and
yes.
gentlemen. So this is your PSA for the holidays, okay? Whether
Especially with Jupiter in Cancer, which is like there's never enough for me to feel comfortable. Like, let me just keep gobbling it up.
same thing with the invites. I remember when I was in a more low vibrational state, I would just like try to over cram the holiday schedule. Yeah, I can catch up with you. Yeah, you too. And
Oh
it's
man.
like, and then I just like never ended up being present with anyone. You know, it's like 30
Right.
minutes here, 30 minutes here, and I'm like, I that defeats the whole
It
purpose.
does. Time to take it easy, be slow. We were talking before we hopped on about hibernation season. Like, I really take seriously that we're supposed to go with the way nature is
Hmm.
moving. So, the less we can do, even though it's Sag season and Sag is getting activated, that's just a helpful counterbalance.
Hmm. I think also depending on your chart, if you have SAG especially like or if you have like Cap, we're going to Cap season in a
Yeah.
dark house, like 4, 8,
Oh, you mean
12.
me?
Oh,
Yeah.
just shout out, shout out. Just saying, Cap season, you're gonna want quiet because it's the time that you really regenerate to then bring all that beautiful airy brilliance out into the world
That's
again.
absolutely true. Yeah.
Hmm. So not only was there Venus moving into Sagittarius, Venus, as you said, was in Scorpio, but it trined Neptune. So
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful stuff there. On December 2nd, Venus, okay, doing its thing, fresh in Sag, sextiled Pluto.
Mm.
And then we go into this beautiful, loud Gemini full moon that features a nodal bending, among other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. So, something critical happening. I love the Venus story of being sunken into that water trine, right? Some emotionality, some depth work, maybe some shadow work, to
Hmm.
then entering like the brighter zone of Sagittarius, which in and of itself is a tonal shift, but then to sextile to Pluto is like, I'm now empowered to perhaps act or to, move forward in a way that actually feels a little bit more like it preserves my, I guess, dignity or like empowerment for real.
Hmm.
So that was a nice little arc that I was keeping track of in my own life. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I mean, that is so true because I feel like some of the conversations even that I've had with clients this week was a lot about, and maybe this is not exactly where you were going, but this is what triggered
Mm.
or prompted it. The idea even of like gratitude, right? Like maybe you arrive at the realization that, oh my God, yeah, I have such an abundant life in what I have. Even maybe it's not the most, but I feel
Mm.
abundant with the resources I have, right? Whether it's my body, whether it's the money I have, whether it's the roof over my head, my community. But then the real question, Venus sextile Pluto, how do you really apply those values? Are you actually just saying, I'm grateful, but really it's like, what are you actually then doing? So there could have been a really pivotal moment at that emotional like realization that, wow, okay, maybe I'm also allowing myself to let go of like a lot of past fears or resentments, right? That is preventing me from action that actually
Mm, yeah.
shows my gratitude. So the sextile is supportive
I
in
love
those
that.
endeavors. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
When you looked at the chart for this Gemini full moon before this week even
What was
began,
the chart for the Gemini full moon? Maybe I
honestly,
was underneath the influence of it all because I didn't even look at one transit app this week.
you're coming in with really fresh, fresh eyes. So technically the
Yeah.
Gemini full moon happened, let's
Okay,
see,
I see it. December 4th,
6:14 p.m. Okay, so it's a Cancer rising.
Jupiter.
Oh my God, Gemini moon in the 12th house. Wow. Actually, I have not looked at the chart itself, honestly. I just saw Gemini full moon with the nodal squares, and I was just like, Wow, big
Yeah.
crossroad moment, and very
Yeah.
much picking up where we left off from the eclipses because of that similar-ish degree, like 15, right, was the Pisces degree. And so
Mm.
now that was a closing, and now there's that nodal beginning at the Pisces degree, right? And so with the full moon, maybe there's a realization that is playing off the September events that now you can really push forth to the next eclipse cycle. You know what I mean? In
Yeah.
Feb and Jan.
I was going to say, I was looking at this with respect to like information coming up or
Mm,
the plot or the story changing a little bit, especially when you think about it with respect to like Mercury also having just stationed direct in Scorpio. So there does feel
yes.
something here about like retrieving information, corroborating information, getting some kind of insight, like that bam, full moon moment that then
Hmm.
adds on, as you said, to the overall story of the eclipses. Now that we're talking about this and I'm able to have like some perspective, I'm like, oh no, this moon did show up for me.
Whoops.
I got some information that plays into my North Node, South Node, like eclipse stuff for real too. So yeah, that's what I think maybe
Mm.
people were experiencing. And the
Hmm.
12th house nature of the moon does feel like sudden, hidden, not expecting really. But the
Hmm.
Sagittarius nature, the sun in Sagittarius, is like, nonetheless, this is part of the bigger picture. So we must
Hmm.
accommodate what has come in and move forward.
Yeah, interesting. There's a lot of, it's almost like there's an understanding of limits and
Mm,
acceptance, but then also maybe with the Mars and Sag quality, right? Like we had it squaring the nodes, now the Sun squares the nodes, and then
yeah.
Venus squares the nodes next week. So multiple iterations on solidifying that confidence as part of this evolution.
Yeah. And I wonder if like Venus will come and that will make it relationship oriented, right? Looking at the nature of the planet for like maybe how these things will show up and like the
Mm-hmm.
plot will be driven forward. So yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
something to look out for, I guess, next week.
Something obviously of note with that Mercury station, as you said, Mercury has again been retrograde,
Yeah.
really since that new moon in Libra back in October, right? So when you talk about relationships, this is very much about our relationships and the evolution of our relationships. But really, as you know, Venus represents the values that we identify in others that really we are hoping to see in ourselves. And so when you think about the relationships you're surrounded by, whether that is your work relationships, romantic relationships, or even your relationships with, I don't know, like your neighbors, for example,
Yeah.
what are those dynamics like? And are they maybe rooted again, Mercury Scorpio, in a cloudy emotional filter
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
might be preventing opportunity?
Yeah. And I love like the precession of planets from Scorpio into Sagittarius as like these planets like drying off. The weight is
Oh,
being lifted and how that in and of itself offers like clarity, right? And like being able to move
mm.
forward. So we get like the last of that when Mercury finally moves on. But yeah, I totally see that narrative or that kind of like vibe coming through.
When you think about a chart featuring like a Venus and Mars and Sag, and like a Gemini moon, you're already thinking like, oh my God, everything everywhere all at once, right? Like you're just
Mm,
thinking, again, there's so much information. When I think about Gemini and Sag, there's a lot about like education, even like what did I learn from the information, or literally education related themes. One of the stories that came out this week was Quinta Brunson, who obviously like created Abbott Elementary, right? Like
mhm.
created and starred in Abbott Elementary. She's launched her own fund to basically help sponsor field trips for underserved community in Philadelphia. I think it's like,
Oh,
how cute is
she
that?
has a 29-degree Sag sun, I'm pretty sure. So I love that as part of her legacy is like her being able to give the world to others, like be able to like see and
Yeah.
experience stuff. Yes, Sag is so
Oh.
wonderful for that quality.
That's so beautiful. I mean, also you're thinking travel with
Yeah.
Gemini and Sag. So this week, well, not necessarily like a travel thing specifically, but maybe transportation. We had the Chanel subway show, which I literally was like, oh my God, you could not be more full moon in Gemini if you even tried,
Yeah.
honestly.
And there's also like a silliness to it. Like I didn't watch it,
Yes.
but even from the outside looking in, like there's a little bit of subversiveness. Like we're going to do this high fashion thing in a
Hmm.
place that otherwise is kind of like grungy and dirty and like busy
Totally.
and chaotic. Yeah.
What's hilarious, I think, was they filmed it at like the Bowery station that has
Okay.
not actually been in use.
Oh,
So you're like, could this be used for public consumption? Like, what is happening here?
It
But oh,
spotlight like local like city politics. Like, should we open this?
yeah, literally. It's like, oh my God, it's like when the rich people try to convince you that they also come from the same background as you,
Right.
and like,
The
yeah, there's
word that
no
came to
privilege.
mind, yeah, is like performative. Like, look at
Yeah.
us, we're the same as you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Clothing were beautiful. There were some particularly beautiful moments too. The way that the sirens are also going outside my building is so full moon. I was like half expecting the bars next to me to like have some sort of like fight or something, like drunken brawl, like, but
Yeah.
nothing happened, just sirens going by. That's lovely.
Just Gemini announcing itself.
Correct. Chaos.
Yes.
The opener for the Chanel show happens to be an NYU student as
Mm.
well. And she is from, I think, Karali in Bangalore. It's incredible. And she's actually, I think, a little bit of, not to say his muse, Matthew Blasey, who is obviously the person behind the creative direction now. He discovered her in the subway. And so now, such a beautiful full circle, full moon moment to open the show in the New York subway where you were discovered. Like, damn.
That is so beautiful. And I want to like say something that you were talking about with like Uranus and Taurus, like expecting like
Mm,
new things with respect to like art, beauty, and fashion. And even though Venus has moved on, there is still a pretty compelling opposition between Venus and Sag and Uranus
hmm
at the end of Taurus. And so like the firstness of it and the
mm,
Sagittarius, this is a different race,
mm.
different culture. So yeah, you can see how that is still kind of being played out, but it's just amplified by the fact that the full moon, right, just lightens anything it touches. So I wanted to kind of like add
Yeah.
that in again because whenever someone says first, I'm always scanning for like where's Uranus? That's
hmm
always kind of part of it.
ASAP is the ambassador for Chanel's menswear, which, well, just kidding. Chanel doesn't have menswear. He's just the male ambassador. So there is this,
Nice.
idea of like, ooh, what's happening? There are only very few. I think Kendrick. So during Matthew
I
Blasey's reign,
remember
like
that.
Kendrick was, I think, the ambassador, and then now it's ASAP.
In the hip hop chart, I'm always thinking about that. Like these are two hip hop artists, and the way
hmm
increasingly hip hop has become associated with like high fashion, right? And like branding in that way. So again, when we're thinking about like subversiveness and like
hmm
plucking people, I have to think like for what reason? Is it because you know that the black dollar spends really, really powerfully in this country, right? And having
Right?
these people at the head. But I think
hmm
of Venus and Sag at the 10th house in that hip hop chart as like these luminaries or these artists being elevated, right? And
Yeah.
associated with these fashion brands. It's like a moment kind of for
hmm
hip hop, but in this like
hmm
subtle, more Venusian, kind of like quick moving way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there was a really fun clip of him and Tiana Taylor, and she's a SAG too, with Venus and SAG. And, they were talking about how fun and cool this was, right? Like
Mm.
just the idea of the subway and culture, and like there is more of this intertwining. So there is something to be said around the idea of, yeah, we're mixing and matching and we're bringing worlds together, but is it oversimplified? Are
Right.
we skirting past details and like what's actually happening? Like,
And is it just serving capitalism at the
mm-hmm.
end of the day? Like I see
Mm-hmm.
through it all. I
What did
can't.
you had a great post. What did you say about SAG and capitalism? Like, what's the shadow side of SAG capitalism?
Something you brought up already, manifest destiny,
Yeah.
excesses, just needing to scale for the sake of scaling, needing to reach people for the sake of reaching people so you can maximize profit. That's Jupiter and
Mm.
America in a nutshell.
That SAG rising,
With
just
Jupiter and Cancer in the
more,
eighth.
more, more. If you think about it, right, with the idea, oh, now I've just gone deep. The idea that Cancer indulgence in the eighth house, right? You're indulging because of the insecurity of not having enough. So it is
Mm.
very much rooted in hollow confidence. Like that,
Mm.
because SAG also is an energy around gratitude, right? Like the high vibration is I'm grateful for what I have and I trust that I have enough so that I'm
Mhm.
generous because I can continuously give versus I need to get more because I don't have enough.
Yeah, the other beautiful side is like maximizing what little you have, which I think is such a Jupiter exalted in Cancer thing. Where, my neighbor's not gonna go without food. I'll go without food. There's something about like sacrificing or spreading what it is that actually
Yeah.
is there to help everyone rather than just like hoarding, which is also very
Classic.
eighth house with respect to like other people's resources, just like needing to continue to put into the piggy bank
Yeah.
like forever.
Why do you have this placement? Like, what exactly about the Cancer stellium in the United States chart?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm learning how to nurture and care, but at the same time, all this inherited racial
Yeah.
ancestral bullshit is getting in the way of actual generosity and inclusion. So,
Yeah, or just like generosity and inclusion as the facade, and then underneath it's just a transaction, which is also
Mm.
very house coded. But you're so right, and that's like something I've taken from my discussion with you into my client sessions. I'm like, no, now why do you have
Why do
five
you
planets here? And they're like, I don't know, I came to you. I'm like, well, I'm asking out loud to the cosmos. Like,
Yeah.
why do you got five, six planets here? Like, there's that's just not accidental. That's just a funny question to ask.
You know,
I
because
just
people complain
why?
like, I have this. I'm like, okay, why do you have that? Why do you have that? You chose this.
That was not accidental. Six planets in Capricorn? Mm-mm.
No, you gotta go build, bitch.
You chose that.
Oh my gosh. But speaking about non-inclusive people, LOL, this week, also today, post the full moon, because I was wondering what was gonna come up for Trump as part of this whole full moon shenanigan.
Yeah.
He got awarded the FIFA Peace Prize.
FIFA, the soccer thing?
Correct.
Okay, whatever.
This is the most Gemini SAG thing. We'll make up an award.
Yeah.
What? The concept of FIFA giving like a peace award,
Are they
human
like
rights
such a
stuff.
corrupt
Yes.
organization? That's what I know about
Yes.
FIFA only.
Garbage. Terrible organization. But I'm so
Yeah.
excited for the World Cup. But yet it's in America and I'm so conflicted. I'm just like,
Mm.
I feel
America's
this.
actually hosting a lot of sports things next year. We're
I
doing the World
know.
Cup and we're doing like the LA Games, I
Oh
think.
yeah, they're happening very close to each other because next year's the Milan Olympics in Feb, which is during
Ah.
eclipse season, which is also interesting. Maybe we should do a special Olympics episode because Lindsey Vonn is back, and I'm like, oh my God, girl, just put you in bubble wrap before you go down that
We must
fucking.
protect you. Yes.
Other things that happen. This is gonna be a chaotic episode. You also hang on. Luigi Mangione's back in pre-trial,
Okay.
which is interesting because he did get sick today. So they
Mhm.
technically pushed the trial to the hearing to Monday. And this current, I don't know if you are familiar with what's like happening for Luigi. So right now it's state hearing. It's different from the federal track where he's still on track for the death penalty. In the state, his team is trying to remove admissible evidence, saying that they obtained all of this without a warrant. We don't really know where the judge is going to stand with that. Again, he was sick today. I wonder if that tells me where like your house placements are, like sixth house, 12th house. Are
True.
you
True.
sick?
Yeah.
Which would be interesting because then he could be a Cancer Capricorn, Cancer rising Capricorn seventh house. And, you know, last year, obviously, with Mars stationing and Neptune also stationing direct, that was right around the time that Brian, what's his face, got shot. And so the fact that the trial's getting moved to next week as Neptune stationing with the Mars Saturn square feels interesting. I don't know how
Yeah.
to read it just
I think it's
yet.
not meant to be read like that. Like with Neptune standing high and the
Yeah.
square from anything with Neptune is just completely unclear how
Ugh.
it's going to play out. But shenanigans afoot. I think like we can't
Mm.
expect it to be linear or intuited. Just expect,
Mm.
right, something unexpected. Not in the
Yes.
Uranian way, just in the like we don't know the facts way. So we have to wait it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, just for also reference, in case this rings bells for people, Mars and Saturn formed an opposition back in August. So this would be like the closing square to that, or like the next
Mhm.
iteration of that. That was right before eclipse season, where I think the judge did drop like a couple of terrorism charges for Luigi
I
Mangione
remember
in New
that. Yeah.
York. So it would stand to reason that if we are continuing the progression from unpacking the eclipses in September as part of the narrative now, maybe there's some continuity there. Who
I was gonna say
knows?
it also stands to reason that we've been saying like malefic transits aren't necessarily always correlating to bad things. And so I think that was one of the examples of Mars opposite Saturn being like, no, you got charges dropped, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that
Eh.
now.
Benefic sponsored by Malefics.
Justice for malefics, says the Saturn ruled girl.
We move on to the events of the other events of the week that we're going to be actively breaking down. We are going to be talking about Quentin Tarantino's chart today because, my God, if you've missed what this man is saying about Paul Dano, like, get out of town, sir, which he already has because he moved to Israel. Then we
Ew,
also have
what?
Quentin Tarantino lives in Israel
Is this? Oh, I just didn't know that. I just, when I
as
hear
a
that,
general concept.
I have a physical, visceral reaction. But okay.
Correct. Yes. And Paul Dano raises money for Palestine. I'm just
Okay.
throwing that out there.
Okay.
Okay,
These
we're
are all
coming.
proxy wars for a bigger war that we're fighting, folks.
Absolutely.
The war of
Miley
humanity.
Saturn is stationed. Neptune's about to station. The war is on. Miley Cyrus confirmed her engagement this week. We're going to be looking at her synastry with Maxx Morando. Okay, Gen Z. Then we are going to look at a little bit Travis Kelce George Clooney because we need to figure out who's the liar in the room, who has actually
Okay.
fought or not. I have my suspicions. And then we end the week, well, with the color of the year.
Cloud
It's
white.
fine. Cloud Dancer.
Oh, cloud dancer, but it's quiet.
Cow what? Now that Missy Copeland is gone. But yes, Netflix did buy Warner Brothers by the end of the week. So we are in the future, ladies and gentlemen. And now we go back. We go back to Mr. We go back to Tarantino. I have actually, funnily enough, until this moment, I have never bothered to pull up Quentin Tarantino's chart in my life. And I thought initially I was gonna pull his chart up before this whole situation for Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair release, which actually happened today. They combined Kill Bill Part 1 and 2 with like extra stuff. I was like, okay, that's cute for
I
him. And
love Kill
then
Bill. Yeah.
I know, what a waste. Like
I know.
I love Quentin Tarantino movies, but sir,
I just knew there would be a Pisces element because what I know most about Quentin Tarantino is that he loves him a foot, and he got Jupiter and Pisces.
wow.
Foot thirst.
If you have Jupes and Pisces in your chart and you are not selling your feet pictures on OnlyFans, what are you doing? If you need extra cash, I
What are they doing is
promise.
that they're looking at them, Tasha. They're buying the photos. You're either selling the feet or buying the feet.
I
You better
mean,
be doing some feet related stuff.
here we have Quentin Jerome Tarantino's child. Never stop saying his middle name now that I found out about
Jerome.
it.
Yeah.
Jerome. It's almost like he doesn't deserve that. I had the full moon laid on top of it. So technically this happened on December 2nd. Okay, so December 2nd, as we said, was the Venus sextile Pluto, which we talked about earlier as the cinching. Let's put the realizations into
Yeah.
practice.
It seems like he did so in like kind of like a dirty way. Yeah.
How is this full moon affecting him? Are you surprised by these comments?
Well, no. Okay, so we have the full moon squaring his Virgo stellium. The fact that he went after Paul for his skill, for his like acting ability makes sense when you think about like just his Virgo being
Mm,
triggered. The nodes are with his Pluto in Virgo as well. And
mm,
I saw you like this story, so I think you know what I'm talking about, but people were kind of speculating that it was a psychological thing where Quentin is kind of jealous of Paul Dano with respect
mm,
to Quentin Tarantino's not a good actor. No one wants to put Quentin Tarantino in their films except for
mm.
Quentin Tarantino. And Paul Dano rather has a really subtle charisma magnetism. I've actually like used to have a crush on him from like Little Miss Sunshine. So like
Oh my
period, like
God.
don't even speak on Paul, okay?
Yeah.
But also he's such a great actor and he does so with such humility. Like he's not even like a leading man in that way, but he's still to me and to a lot of others leagues more talented and skillful than Tarantino has like made it seem. So yeah, there's
Hmm.
something shadowy at play, both with his Pluto being brought up in Virgo, which is like the shadow side of like critique, but then also, as you said, like Venus sextile Pluto in the sky and how it unintentionally created like more momentum for this underrated actor. I
Yeah.
think like that's the other side of it. But yeah, anything that touches Pluto can be brought down into that realm. So like sticky, yucky, jealous, gross comments, I think is also part and parcel. Sextiles can sometimes just mean that it's like a off the cuff thing or like a small thing. So it doesn't like end up having to be a trauma, even though it does kind of evoke deeper Plutonian things.
I mean, girl, that Pluto Chiron opposition. Like, I'm
Ah,
so like I have a
oh, I
Saturn
just saw that.
Chiron.
Okay, so he's real sad. He has issues and concerns. Yeah, so like not thinking I'm good enough for sure. But that's what he
Yeah.
thinks, not not me. That
Right.
could be like one of the ways that shows up.
It's so weird, right? Because there's this idea of like you're brilliant. You're a brilliant filmmaker, a screenwriter. You wrote in like all these different languages, which I always suspected was more to prove that he could rather than additive to the script of the movie.
Mhm.
But critic aside, like when I look at someone with the Pluto opposing Chiron, that's like a generational thing. I am like, God, I'm underwater sometimes with the Saturn opposing Chiron, but Pluto opposing Chiron, like, well, actually, I just had a Pluto Chiron opposition, so that was
Yeah.
you really do question like your self-worth. You really do have to confront that insecurity in the most real way. And I say real for
Yeah.
him because he's got all that Aries, which was also getting stress test. He's crashing out.
And I think of Pisces also, Chiron and Pisces. it means so many things, but I just can't help but see the correlation between Pisces and film. So
Hmm.
it's kind of giving language to maybe the types of things, right, that could trigger Quentin Tarantino, like the film industry. But it's
Hmm.
also interesting because he has that pain point where he also has this very powerful Jupiter. So it's kind of like where he is great, he still does not feel good enough. Or it's kind of like where he has talents, as you said, he's made some great films, if you just be quiet, is also where he faces his like deepest pain. And so that must be interesting to hold. Like
Mm.
your source of greatness is also the source of your greatest vulnerability.
Interesting. You know what came to mind also because of his Mercury and Sun conjunction in Aries, like obviously someone who is hyper competitive
For sure.
and wants to be the best. When you think about the idea of like, I'm so good at directing and writing and all these other facets of creativity within the film space, right? But acting was something I just didn't do. We think, and I don't have it highlighted here, but we are in this Chiron and Aries conjunction and in Aries. And, there is a lot about, I think Stephen Forrest said this recently, hyper competitiveness to the point where we've lost the plot even.
Mhm.
And when I think about if you are watching this movie, let's say he said he watched There Will Be Blood recently, and that's what brought this up because then he changed his mind. This movie was a powerhouse movie. It's hilarious because I watched There Will Be Blood earlier this summer, and like my reaction coming out of the movie was, oh my God, I forgot how brilliant Paul and freaking PT, like all of them are. It's so good. It almost makes me feel like this heaviness of Scorpio season with the Grand Water Trine, and all of this is also obviously on his like North Node in Cancer at 26 degrees. A regret, maybe, or sadness that I didn't try hard enough at the acting thing. And
Yeah.
so now that I'm watching one of my favorite movies of all time, and I see this person, and I see like maybe I see myself in this person, and this person I think did fine, but I know I could do better, but I'm really just the most mad at myself for
Did he say
not
that he
doing
thought
that.
he could do better? Did he bring himself into it?
Nope.
Yeah, but
This
we
is
can kind of
me.
assume that.
This is me with the Mercury, Sun, Aries, and Pluto Chiron. Especially because when you think Virgo, right? What's the most annoying thing to someone with heavy Virgo placements in the shadow? You're not doing it right. It's almost like you're couch coaching rather than actually getting in the game. And then again, the fact that he brings up Austin Butler as the suggestion to replace Paul Dano. Of course, we had to pull up Paul's chart because, like, what about Paul? Paul just living his best Gemini life somewhere else away from Hollywood, all of a sudden gets dragged into this bullshit.
He just minding his own business. I love that sound that's trending now. Minding my own God, minding my own business, whatever. Okay, so Paul Dano was doing that. One thing I wanted to say about Quentin Tarantino is that not only does he have Sun, Mercury, he has Mars and Leo forming an exact trine, right? Trining into that or empowering or emboldening the
Mm.
story of be better or like you're not good enough. I
Hmm.
also think it's curious with respect to the perspective of time, and Saturn is on top of his Jupiter and Pisces. This
Mm.
culmination of like, oh, when I look back or I reminisce, right? Saturn will always kind of bring this awareness of like, you're getting old. Things
Yes.
are ending. So I just wanted to
Yes.
call that out for Quentin himself.
Yeah. Also
Paul,
Neptune
yeah,
on that Jupiter.
yeah. Dissolution. Is my greatness solidified? Right? Kind of like maybe that question.
Hmm.
I don't want to put this out there, but I'm saying it anyway. So oops. Like I saw some speculation that Quentin Tarantino might be going through like mental stuff.
Mm.
Not necessarily
Mm.
with respect to illnesses, but like degeneration. Like the way that you just kind of like outright and say something cruel about someone is just like maybe
Yeah.
not reflective of someone who's in a good state mentally for whatever reason. That can also be a very Gemini full moon thing, like
Hmm.
really shining a focus on the way that your mind works and the stories that you're telling yourself and like what it is that you're saying and how it's all functioning. Paul, I thought was interesting. The full moon is on his North Node
Yeah,
in
literally.
Gemini. Yeah, and his Chiron, right? So his own skillmanship being brought up, just catching strays, but he has also Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Gemini, right? So this
Mhm.
personal for him, even though he didn't ordain for it to happen that way. He just probably woke up to all these texts.
Oh my, like what the F is
Yeah.
happening? It's not just Paul that caught strays, right? Owen Wilson caught a
Oh,
stray
right. Oh,
too.
I listen.
Matthew Lillard also. What's hilarious though is Quentin literally like ranted about Paul. He literally is like, There Will Be Blood would stand a better chance to be in number one or number two if it didn't have a big giant flaw in it. And that flaw is Paul Dano. Obviously, it's supposed to be a two-hander, and it's also so drastically obvious that it's not a two-hander. I'm like trying to mimic him, lol. He's weak
Yeah.
sauce, man. He's a weak sister. Austin Butler would have been wonderful in that role. So you put him with the weakest male actor in the Screen Actors Guild, the limpest dick in the world. Literally Quentin!
Jesus Christ. Yeah, like what prompted that? Like in what world would you even need to say? And it seems so like not like normal for him either. I don't know if that he's been this scathing before. Like maybe, maybe not.
No, as you pointed out, right? Yes, we have the Chiron activation here. We had a Chiron activation for Quentin. Okay, Chiron in the room. But then there are similarities between both their charts. I'm removing the Gemini full moon for a second. The Mercury combustion.
Okay.
Also, Quentin, the fact that Paul literally has a Mercury, Sun, Venus, and Gemini, he is a duality, okay? He plays twins well, so fuck off. But it also has the Venus Saturn square,
Ah.
right? No, no, it was squaring the full moon's Saturn.
Venus
But
squares Saturn in Pisces.
yes,
Got
there
it.
we go. Kind of mirroring Quentin's Venus and Saturn
Venus and
conjunction.
Saturn, I want to say, for an artist and creative can be exceptionally harsh on themselves. So when you
Mhm.
have both a Virgo stellium, which is just empowered and like deepened by Pluto there, plus Venus conjunct Saturn, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a person who holds themselves and others to incredibly high standards. And then when those
Mhm.
standards aren't met, like maybe this is what we get, just cruelty to others,
I
but
mean,
probably also to the self.
I feel bad. Like, if this is how you feel about yourself and that was a great performance, like, I'm sorry, dude. Like,
Yeah.
life is also not over yet. You're like, your chart is 1963. Like, I have plugged people older than you who are doing more things. So, like, get off your ass and act. Like, stop complaining. But it's interesting that Paul's synastry also, right? Like, we don't know his time, but it's so compelling that Pisces moon on the Chiron, right? Like, you're getting the roles I want to get. Like maybe he has like a hard on for Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't know. Why are you bringing up the dick? LOL, this whole Scorpio situation here is hilarious with the limp dick
I'm sorry, Paul
comment.
Dano gives me BDE. He just tall minds his business, has his wife
Mm-hmm.
Zoe Kazan, I think, and it's just I don't
Mm-hmm.
know Saturn Mars. It just feels like he knows how to handle things. I'm just projecting that onto him, and it has the Jupiter sextile. There's a quick aside. There is an astrology Instagram page that like shows the charts of people with like very large members.
Oh my God, that's a brilliant account.
Yeah, like big dick astrology. It's not called that, but that's the vibe.
That
I tell
should
you
be the
what,
title. They should rebrand.
almost 95% of the times it's a Mars Jupiter aspect, okay? So if I'm looking at Paul Dano's chart and I see Mars sextile Jupiter and Jupiter's in mutual in a reception with Saturn, I don't know, it just gives like he's fine. Men
Yeah.
who are fine in that department don't end up like saying cruel things out loud, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. It's interesting that Mars Saturn's also conjunct Quentin's Neptune in Scorpio.
I wonder what that means, like a kind of burst of the dream. Like I am the reality, and you just had an imagination
Mm.
about what you wanted to be, but I am this thing. And that's
Yeah.
similar to what I wanted to say with his moon on the Chiron. We don't know
Mm-hmm.
exactly, right? I guess it could be an Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, there's a compelling case for the fact that the moon just brings instinctual talents and like Pisces and the arts and character fluidity. And so to have that on Quentin Tarantino's Chiron could be like, that's just a talent I don't possess. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't Virgo skill myself into having that magic that Pisces moons
Mm.
can be born with sometimes.
But he can if he just didn't try so hard. Oh,
He can't try
Quentin!
hard. He has Venus Saturn in a Virgo stellium or Virgo enough Virgo placements. Yeah.
It's like he had to create the containers, allow himself to feel safe, like as being a writer, director, you're safe because you are not putting yourself and your emotions out there for everyone to see. The actor is the more vulnerable because you're also at the mercy of the direction. And like Quentin just can't give up control. So like you can't be a good actor because you're gonna get rocked. Like it's just never gonna work, bro.
That's true. You need to be kind of surrendered to have a good performance.
Totally, totally. I mean, God, I did not think I would spend this much time with Quentin Tarantino, but the last thing I'll say is Pluto Lilith. I
Mm.
wonder if in a past life or something, like there just has to be something past life here,
Mm.
right? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, because Pluto Lilith series on the potential moon, like there is a lot of moon like early childhood stuff between the both of them that's getting hit. I don't really know what that means, but just the
Yeah.
idea of it makes sense why this would be a random figure that he
Mm,
would just call out of nowhere because
mm,
there feels like there is some past life stuff working. And I would love to know the rising signs for both to understand better where the nodal structure is
me
operating
too.
from.
Yeah. And I would also be interested to know like what is their off-screen relationship? Like is this
Mm,
coming out of nowhere for real, or was there contention the whole time that has
yeah.
been building up and something triggered during the
Maybe
filming?
Paul said no to a role.
Maybe. And Quentin was like, "How dare you? You think you're
Yeah.
better than me?" But girl, probably.
I guess something. But it's going to be hilarious because obviously Paul has this Venus conjunction, not a Cazimi just yet, although we will be having a cute Venus Cazimi moment on Jan 6th coming up. That's on again galloping off to a roaring start 2026.
I
But
do want to say something here
mm,
about how unintentionally his criticism of Paul has now elevated Paul's star in the
mm-hmm,
cosmos or in the zeitgeist right now. I would bet
mm-hmm.
100% his movies are going to be streamed a lot in the next couple of days or
Yeah.
weeks. People just like watching it out of love, but also maybe watching it out of curiosity. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's like the transit Saturn square his Venus. Yes, like there's a pain point, but what it's also doing is creating legacy of his body of work.
Ooh,
So
we love
period T.
that. We love that. We
I might be
love
watching There Will
that.
Be Blood, or like I'll just support Paul this weekend.
So good. Little Miss Sunshine throwback. Like,
Okay, I love
I
her.
mean, come on. But you know what? Now that I think about it, again, this is not the first rodeo between the both of them because Paul has the Uranus Chiron opposition as well on the South Node. And usually when you have the Uranus on the South Node, it's like a sudden moment. Someone like spoke truth out against you and it
Mhm.
challenged what you were doing or what you were saying. And the idea of, yeah, but I have my supportive community North Node coming to me. Maybe like this can also encourage Paul to come back into acting. Like I know he did take a step away, but I can't tell Mars Saturn, you never know if it's also a function of like, I don't feel like I can
Mhm.
do that for myself. But the 29 degree is interesting because we do have that Sagittarius new moon happening on December 19th at 28 degrees Sag. So it's going to be literally hitting exactly in opposition, also squaring Quentin Tarantino's Jupiter. I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen there. But yeah, that
Maybe
makes
he'll say
sense.
something. Maybe
Venus
he'll
Sun squaring Jupiter.
Venus Sun. Yeah.
Paul's Venus Sun.
Yeah. So you accidentally amplified him with your hate. That's Jupiter in Pisces, right? It's like I will be egalitarian even if the person who I'm speaking through is a shit stain. I will make sure everyone wins in this.
Shit sting. Well, not so happy couple here, but we move on to happier couples. We got word this week that Miley Cyrus is engaged. And if I have to say, if there was one Disney star pop girly who I was very happy to see happy again, it is Miley Cyrus, honestly.
That's so sweet. I have no idea who her fiance is.
Honestly,
Max.
same. He's a Gen Z drummer.
Gen Z drummer,
Yeah, so
as in he's from Gen Z.
he's from Gen Z and his profession is he's a drummer
Got it. But he's born
in a
in
band.
1988, so he would have to be a millennial,
Oh my God.
right?
He was
Or is it 98 and she's a cougar?
98. Ah,
Okay.
thank you. I was like, oh my God. That would have been a nightmare.
Okay, there we
Hold
go.
on, update save chart. Okay, yes, because
Okay.
because they have very cute synastry
Yeah.
in the Scorpio sector. So I was like, no, 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 no. That thank you for checking me
Yeah, of
because
course.
Gemini life right now. So they came onto the scene like 4 years ago, but they only made their hard launch earlier this year in Feb at SNL 50, which is interesting because when you think about a moon cycle perspective, this Gemini full moon would trace back to like that Feb March timeframe around events that were developing.
Yeah.
So you get the realization now, which is the formal engagement that we all saw at the new Avatar movie. How do you feel about this match?
It feels nice. It feels promising. What I know about Miley Cyrus, and maybe this is just culturally constructed because who really knows, is that she felt like such a wild person or spirit for Liam. And I attributed that to her eighth house Sag. Just like not only am I wild with respect to just having fun and loving life, I can go deep. I
Mm-hmm.
can really like make some inroads internally. So I like that Maxx has at least some Sagittarius placements in her eighth house, like willing to meet that depth. I love
Mm-hmm.
Sun Moon synastry, like Venus Moon synastry. That's just so sweet. You understand them implicitly, you love them, you value them. So it feels like really nice. The only
Hmm.
thing that I would caution is that there's so much of the similarity, there's so much of the same
Mm.
that it's kind of like there's no maybe counterbalance.
Hmm.
So it might just be like two people deeply enmeshed, but who cares? If it's healthy, it's healthy. But I like what I'm seeing.
Very interesting, because now that you say that, he's got the Venus conjunction as well. A lot of like Venus Sun things we're seeing right now, which is cute, with
Yeah.
Paul and now him. But then there's the Sun
True.
Chiron. So
Hmm.
like, does he see himself? Because that Sun is trapped between Venus and Chiron. He doesn't have a clear sense of self. He only really defines himself by who he's with. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, that enmeshment's interesting. I think I read something about how Miley said they like grow together a
Yeah.
lot, and that's like such a Scorpio seventh house thing. As long as we can emotionally work through things, complicated things together, that
Yeah.
is the sweet spot.
That is, it's also very her Venus is in Capricorn, which is her ascendant lord. And that's
Hmm.
also very much like, let's do the work of love. Let's climb this mountain together. But it's married also with the emotional depth of Scorpio.
Oh my gosh, hashtag the climb. Whenever I see that Venus in Capricorn, I'm like, yes, that song
Yeah.
hits
It's also very
always.
Saturn on the midheaven. Like your biggest song is about climbing a mountain, or one of your biggest songs. There's always gonna be another mountain. Okay, so great.
You know what? It is interesting because she said what? She got, I think, engaged maybe like, I actually don't know when they got engaged. Probably around, she joked this was a Black Friday deal. So maybe like close to around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which I'm hopeful that they did get engaged like during that Cazimi, the Mercury Cazimi in Scorpio, like whatever, all that beautiful magic in Scorpio that was happening, the new moon in Scorpio, the new moon at 28 degrees, he is a
Yeah.
Venus at 28, she's a
Yeah.
Taurus rising at 28. Like it just feels like the new moon in Scorpio was a really significant point for the both of them in the dark, which is cute.
Yeah. And then it came to light later. Yeah.
Next year, Jupiter moves into Leo and the nodes move into Leo and Aquarius. I wonder if they do actually like get married during like one of the eclipses next year, like a
Next
big
year is just a
celebrity
hard year for
wedding.
that. Yeah. And then Venus goes
Yeah.
retrograde. Like,
Uh, but wow, well, see, now that's the thing. How do you feel like the Venus retrograde is going to go for both of them, given his Venus retrograde? And she's got a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. So,
yeah. I don't know. Like what could happen a year from now? I don't want to like project the worst. It could end up
hmm.
being like a deepening. Maybe that's when they actually have the marriage, like a year from now is when that would be.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
would kind of make sense if they got engaged during Mercury retrograde
Yeah.
and then they would revisit it during a retrograde cycle. Okay, this is the thing, guys. If you get engaged or if you like decide you want to start something on a retrograde and you have something natally retrograde, great. But keep with the retrograde cycle. Don't like all of a sudden
Don't break
change.
it and try to go
Yeah,
direct.
just
I
saying.
was looking in her chart for like indications of dating someone younger than you.
What do you
Um,
see?
Not really anything. I see
Really?
Venus and Capricorn to me gives like I want the older, reliable person, but it is conjunct
Mm.
Uranus, which is a youthful kind of energy. I don't know. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the Venus Uranus like
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. And the way I heard, I forget who it was the other day, maybe it was Maurice Fernandez, but like even just the idea of like having an Aquarius midheaven, like, and it's chasing an ideal. So it's not to say it can be, it's unconventional in
Yeah.
the depth of commitment that you would want from someone. Because when you think about a Venus Uranus, it's like, yeah, it's defying social norms. It makes sense with Saturn in the midheaven that she's like the elder, like true and true,
Hmm.
even in the relationship from a social status perspective. You can kind of see that energy there. I think even with her South Node in Gemini, it's curious and a Mercury retrograde ruling that. So it's in the seventh. So it is going to be like an alternative partner a countercultural partner, which
Yeah.
he is so indie.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He collaborates on her music as well. I think they actually did perform together at SNL 50. I think they sang Nothing Compares to You,
Sweet. I'm glad they have that
which
together. It's so Venusian.
yeah, I can now like kind of even hear adore you. To me, yes, when Venus and the sun are in your moon like this and the Mercury, that is such I adore you energy. Anything else you want to say about Miss Miley and
No, congrats,
Max?
Smiley. I hope it's a happy
Congrats!
chapter for you, girl.
If you need astrologers to read at the wedding.
Yeah, just for the guests, like not even for you, Miley, but
Yeah.
even for you.
If you, we got you.
Yeah,
We
we can tag team it. One line, two lines, right? Get through every single guest.
moving on to other unions that were celebrated. Again, the Venus themes were very loud this week in the air.
Interesting.
Okay, I am now pulling up George Clooney's
Okay.
chart.
So what is the backstory here? They were on a podcast and they said they don't fight with their partners.
Correct. So this is
Okay.
not the first time that George Clooney has said he and Amal have never fought in their however long relationships. Like 10 years or so they've been together, they have never fought once. At the time when he said that, I was like, suspect. That's a lie. But then when he started talking again this week, so George Clooney isn't making the rounds because he's got a movie out called Jay Kelly that came out on Netflix today, which I might actually watch because it sounds interesting. And
He
Adam
looks
Sandler's in
good.
it.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler is featured on today's actor on actor conversation with Ariana Grande.
I
So
love those are
like
my favorite things to binge every year.
so good, honestly. Like, do you have a favorite? Do you have like one that you're like looking forward to the most this year?
No, but I have ones that I look back on a lot. It's usually the ones with like Viola Davis, and I love the actress roundtables because they usually end up talking about things that are way deeper than acting. They just talk about like being a woman. They're
Like
always the ones I connect the most to.
I think I remember last year's standout because every year I feel like there are one or two dynamic duos that really like go viral, based on like
Yeah.
what they say. And I feel like last year was Coleman Domingo and
Yes, yes.
Kieran Culkin, like the
Both
saggiest
awesome.
conversation and
Yeah.
Libra. It was so freaking good. It was
They should
amazing.
have people do Sinistry for that.
Yes!
Variety, if you're listening.
Variety!
And then we can pair them up to be like some contention. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. It'll be like a reality show, but we can make nice pairs
Yes!
with people's Mercuries or their sun, like get the conversation going. I wonder how they pick them.
You just tell us the tone and we will bring the people in. Okay? You want insightful, which I kind of like the Adam Sandler and Ariana Grande one because they're both finishing up their Saturn returns. They talked a lot about crying
Yeah.
and the water boy and
Yeah.
like this artistic legacy and acting. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so Saturn and Pisces coded. But
Artistes that kind of
yeah.
were looked down upon. I know they both can kind of give that vibe of like because she came from Nickelodeon and because he came from
Yes.
comedy, they
Mm.
don't seem like heavyweights, but they are.
hmm Back to George Clooney, now making the circuit. He was on New Heights with Travis Kelce, and that's where he was asked, was that a lie that you said you and Amal in 10 years of your relationship have never gotten into an argument once? Do we believe that with this chart?
So no, I would like to know what their definition of argument is. I am sure that two adults have come together and talked something through, and they're just like, well, because it was civil, it wasn't an
Mm,
argument. But like, what do you think an argument is? Do you think it's like yelling? So that's what I want to know. I don't think we're
mm.
starting on like equal ground here. Are you saying
Definition?
like you've never had a difference of opinion? Be serious.
You know
No
what?
way.
That's also an interesting question for people at the full moon in Gemini. If you're like wondering if like should I have the conversation or not have the conversation because clarify. There are some things
Clarify.
that you're probably not holding to the same definition that you are now operating off. So have the conversation to clarify so you can see eye to eye so you can then make a more informed decision on how you want to
Yeah.
move on.
It also makes me think maybe they are just so skilled. And Amal, I feel like has worked in diplomacy and
hmm
has a people facing job. They could just be very skilled at conflict that it doesn't feel like it has so much friction that it would rise to the level of like that was an argument. But two human beings who have been together are going to see differently. So that's just life. I don't think it's come to blows. I don't think it's been extreme, but I think you've had
Right.
some differences of opinion and you've had to meet in the middle. Venus ruled a sun for him and Travis Kelce, so that kind of
hmm
tracks for just like the mellow personality.
So we do have George Clooney's time, allegedly 258. Third house Mercury Sun in Taurus.
Yeah, right. You think you're right about everything. Maybe that's why you think you haven't had an argument. Because that Taurus third house just is like, well, I'm correct.
Right.
I don't know. Just that's just fun
With
and
the Venus in
games.
Aries.
But it does gonna give like chat. I need chat. I need to talk this out. Yeah.
I mean, not only that, okay, Mercury is so stimulated by Uranus. It's a
I see
Mercury-Uranus
that in him.
square.
He talks kind of like Mercury square Uranus. Yeah.
Totally. And like again, I know his whole thing is like to merge, but like this Pluto and Virgo merging situation, like how are we merging here? Because
Mm.
Pluto, it can be a force that completely engulfs you. And so when you think about Mercury ruling that, I don't know, is this George or is this Amal?
Yeah. And I think of Mercury, Pluto, they're not in a wide trine. but they're
Hmm.
aspecting each other by sign as like burying the words. It's like, yeah, have you not had an argument because you're just full of resentment? Or I just want to know what the litmus test here for argument is. I have
Hmm.
some questions. Clarify. I'm a Gemini rising.
I mean, he's got that Mars Jupiter, as we said, BDE.
There we go. Yes. It's also very bachelor life. Like, let me be me, let me be free. I see that a lot
Yes.
too. But yeah,
And
Amal, got him.
Daddy, Saturn, Moon,
In the
Cap.
11th house, he is United States is the culture's daddy, right? We all project. I don't think he's particularly handsome,
Nope.
but I can see it.
He's so charming. Like he has good
Yeah.
comedic timing with the
Yeah.
word. And like you see that Mercury side, like he's a very talented actor and
Yeah.
timing is perfect. But again, what was very interesting about the way he said, what is there to argue about? And if I'm arguing, I'm not going to win anyway, realistically. So why bother? But I'm so grateful, this beautiful, talented woman who does everything and shares my values and does them in the world. Like, I'm just, what am I complaining about? What am I picking a fight for? And I was like, wow, that is so Neptunian. Like,
Seems passive. That's the
Delulu,
first thing I was going to say. That's passive.
yeah, but Neptune is opposing his sun
Hmm.
and squaring his Jupiter
Yeah.
and Mars. He is in a grand fixed cross.
Yeah, maybe not seeing things clearly, but also just like exalting the dream, not wanting to puncture the dream if she's the dream woman. But yeah, it also just makes me think of like they say the dynamics that work the best in heterosexual relationships are the ones where the man is like totally obsessed and in love with his partner and doesn't like bring any conflict, and the woman is the one like bringing everything up and like able, right, to be in her masculine or to like bring things up. So it makes me wonder is like, are you just kind of offing that to Amal? That's like now that's her
Mm.
job to like bring things up or to bring the conflict up. I don't know. Who knows?
She is doing all the Pluto for him,
Yeah.
and he's not doing the Pluto, which is interesting because again, he's not at his
Sibley.
nodal moment yet, but we're inching closer to it.
Do we have a Mal's chart?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh, there she is.
No time, sadly.
I just don't think an Aquarius and a Taurus aren't not fighting. That's astrology 101. Okay, but let me see.
It's sun and a personal planet, right? So
Yeah.
inherently, subjectivity is the name of the game. It's not
Right.
objective.
Right. I can see that. And they're also both Earth Mercuries. And I do think, as a fellow Earth Mercury, just there's this ability to like hold on to things and just kind of figure it and untie it within yourself. It's like a very internal
Mm.
process. It doesn't maybe process outward, like maybe Mercury in an air or fire sign. So they have that together. And it just makes me think, like, are you guys just like processing things like quietly on your own?
I mean, she has that Mars retrograde in Cancer at
Oh.
26 degrees, which is opposing his Saturn. Again, her Mercury also is on his Saturn.
There's something also his Saturn showing up as like being the guide to like calm that part of her down. I don't know. So
Hmm.
maybe he does kind of like subdue in the most positive of ways. But yeah, it just
Maybe.
seems like these are some feisty placements.
Maybe. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not to say that if you have difficult placements, it's gonna come out as conflict. Maybe he worked through it for so long and then, or maybe not. I don't believe that. But it's just interesting to me that he's out promoting a movie about being in the twilight of his career and maybe not having the most in-depth, emotionally fulfilling relationships.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because usually there is a resonance with the material that you're working with. And so it just makes me wonder.
Yeah. Like what
And
resonated? Why did that particular film and like script resonate in you? We're seeing in different
Mhm.
ways, like I don't think George Clooney, I think he has a long way to go. Like I'm not capping his career, but I do kind
No.
of see the mirror of him and Quentin, maybe kind of both through art
Mm.
and like through real life dealing with the twilightness of their career, things coming to a
Mm.
close or needing to look back because you just reached a certain age where you have a lot to look back on now.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
both have that Chiron in Pisces, and they're going to get hit by the eclipses coming
Yeah.
up soon.
Theory, this full moon would then have been activating Clooney's Pisces ascendant and that Chiron as
That's
well.
right.
Or naturally, the relationship between self and other, but then his Jupiter is ruling that from the 12th.
Hmm.
What is the public maybe picking up on that you're not acknowledging, that we're like reflecting back at you?
Yeah, or even that your films are reflecting back
Hmm.
at you. Yeah. 12th house
Ugh.
things, it's like the message comes, but it comes in a pretty circuitous way. But
Totally.
if you're curious and willing, you will figure it out. But yeah, that does feel like Jupiter in the 12th house. Like those realizations come later or like through the dark.
Yeah. And, when you think about a Mars in Aquarius solar eclipse coming up in Feb is just going to be wild. You're wet and wild. And that opposing his Uranus in Leo.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine this spring not being difficult. When you have a Mars retrograde in Cancer and you have a Venus in Aries, and there was a Mars retrograde in Cancer and there was a Venus retrograde in Aries, it
Yeah, like what
just
happened?
doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me that there wouldn't be conflict inherently rising.
Yeah. Or at least tension or heat or
Yeah.
friction, like something rubbing up against something that is uncomfortable. Whether or not you call it
Mm-hmm.
an argument or conflict, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
discomfort. Because when people are like, we don't fight, I feel like what that projects out is like, oh, it's just every day, it's all nice. Like, hi, I love you. But we can see just through real life and through the astrology that no, they have dealt with friction. They just
Yeah.
don't label it or give it the language arguing. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a
Mm.
Gemini lesson of like, what words are we using to say things?
Yeah.
What do things mean?
Maybe he just needs to find a savvier interviewer. It's like, okay, so you said you've never gotten into an
That's the
argument.
first question I would ask Tasha. Is like, what does an argument look like for you? Because I cannot believe. But he was just with Travis Kelce. He's like, oh yeah, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Just a
Travis was not
himbo.
gonna. It's the
Team
golden
himbos together.
retriever to the golden retriever, but
Yeah.
one like George is like black cat he's like George Clooney is a black cat with golden retriever energy. Travis Kelce is a golden retriever with black cat energy on the inside. Because you
Ah,
don't
okay.
actually, people were like, he's so stupid in my DM. Nah, guys, it's not that Travis is stupid. He wants you to believe he's stupid, but he's actually got this whole ambitious mastermind thing going on. Okay, you can't just be a Mars Sun Libra person and not understand the art of human perception and social
Yeah.
games. That's smart. That's Survivor. I'll
You
wait,
also
I'll play it
can't
last.
be, yeah, you can't be Sun Mars without having some ambition. Those are two fiery planets together, right? It
Hmm.
creates like an urge to want to be seen or make an impact, right, in some way. Just the way that Paris Hilton leveraged her quote unquote stupidity to build her
Yes.
empire. Okay,
Yes.
respect, Travis. I was wrong
I
about you.
But what I found was so interesting was the back and forth. I have the reel up on my page where I think Travis asked George the question, and then George was like, "No, Travis, are you lying?" And like flipped it back at Travis so that Travis can say, "Well, it's been 2.5 years, and no."
2.5 years, whatever.
I think
That's not anything.
you guys met when she was on tour. Like,
Yeah.
refine that number, please. The fact that in their synastry, George and Travis, I'm just throwing out this hypothesis. Pluto on Neptune and Scorpio, I'm maybe revealing a wound that you're not
Oh.
seeing. It's Uranus South Node conjunction. I don't know, Sun and Mars opposing the Venus in Aries, right? Like there is reflection happening between both of them. And
Yeah.
also, Travis is a Virgo rising.
Yeah. Any question that starts with, is it true? Is the act of like Scorpio energy trying to get up underneath something. That is
Hmm.
kind of like I'm trying to uncover. And also, it says implicitly, there's a little bit of distrust. You don't believe that it's true. It's just why
Hmm.
you're asking it. So, yeah, I can
Hmm.
see how that could be like a mirroring or reflecting of like, actually dig a little bit deeper. Like, do you argue? Do you fight? Also, George Clooney with Venus and Aries, this is just like I'm a young, but I think I'm wise. I don't think there is a relationship without friction. It's not interesting. There's no growth edges. You're not learning.
Hmm.
You're not, learning, having relational skills. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the parts, the natal promises of having Venus and Aries is like, yes, you do maybe have to walk through the fire, but fundamentally, like the fight for the love that matters for you, I think is such a blissful experience, right? For Aries placements or Venus and
Mm.
Aries. So I
Hmm.
think about like you're shortcutting yourself if you're not getting
Hmm.
into those trenches, right? But he's a Pisces
Interesting.
rising and averse to Aries, right? So it makes sense that you would want to go with the flow.
Interesting. Very, very
Yeah.
interesting. I know, and that hidden Jupiter. Very Piscean you are, George Clooney. Slippery, slippery
You can't
man.
fool me.
So sorry. Now moving on. So we haven't even gotten to the full moon yet. We finally get to the full moon right now. Finally, right now, December 4th, Pantone picking the color of the year. And you know what? I don't actually have any other chart for this other than I'm just gonna pull up the full moon chart because I could not find Pantone's inception date.
Okay.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
Pantone's official IG, which I've never gone to in my life. Also, Instagram changing the format of this during this retrograde is like sending me
Yeah,
like
like I can't,
what?
like RIP to my messages. I can't find them. Sorry if you have been talking to me or at me.
We don't know where they are.
Why would you do that?
Oops. But the fact that Pantone announces this on the Gemini full moon, the global authority for color communication and inspiration since 1963.
Okay, that is such sag, Gemini.
Right? You're like, okay.
Communication and inspiration. That's the axis in a nutshell.
So good, Pantone. You did it
Yeah.
there. But did you do it with the whiteness of the color?
Yeah. I think I feel like the color of the year every year is a little bit maligned because it's just stupid. I don't just my Venus and Aquarius, like don't tell me what the color of the year is. I'm gonna wear whatever I want. Like, what is the point of it? Like, do you then create products with it? I don't know.
Yes, they
But
brand and whole like launch like
okay.
certain lines of things. It's another capitalist
So you're telling
grab.
me that this, yeah, you're telling me that this is a color based on what
I
analysis?
think there's another rival brand that was trying to like
Okay.
bring up their color, and their color was more like this turquoise teal-ish, which I think a
Okay.
lot of people kind of saw. But is white even a color?
Isn't it like literally the reflector of colors?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So Gemini full moon, like things that come out during this time, though they may have actual consequences down the line, are just fundamentally silly. Just kind of dumb. And this is what you can put in that bucket. Like this is okay, it's
The
Cloud
dumb bucket.
Dancer. Yeah, it's just whatever. Someone says this for sure. Let's roll with it.
Is that okay? When we were texting back and forth, and you were like, "Oh my God, Cloud Dancer, that is so
I
Pisces."
was looking in the chart for what planet is giving white. Because when I think white, I think something that is sterile and without a thing. So I
Mm.
was like, it's not Saturn. I guess it could be Saturn in Pisces. But when I saw the name of the particular color of white, which is Cloud Dancer, I'm like, yeah, that is Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces for the last time in our lives. It's like going out strong, Cloud Dancer. I read it's supposed to like be a color of like soothing, which is very
Yes.
Piscean, but it's the color of 2026, right? So it's taking us into Neptune entering Aries. And then they said
Mhm.
simultaneously, white is the color of a blank slate. So it's also about new beginnings. I'm like, okay, that's the Aries Pisces threshold. And that is all about
Yeah.
Neptune, I think.
Like, here's the thing, taking out the commentary and the context about the color white in this political climate and where we are, hearing like what they're trying to say, and then you're like, okay, I see it with the astrology. I see the theme with the astrology.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is this is an NPR article. 2026 marks the first year that Pantone has chosen a shade of white for the color of the year. However, it's not the first time the company has selected a color to encourage tranquility and to alleviate stress. And
Okay.
I think AP Astrology posted this on Threads where Jupiter indicates color trends for the year, and
Ah,
Cancer and white is really
yes.
prominent. So, of course, we have
It's silvery, ruled by the moon.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and it's the reflector, as you just said, right? Naturally, La Luna reflects stuff. So
Mhm.
the
What was the
themes
color last year? Did it have to do with Jupiter and Gemini?
2 years ago in 2024, peach fuzz.
Okay, kind of.
Yeah, was Pantone's pick to express a desire to nurture ourselves and others.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I guess with the Mars. Oh, maybe,
Well, peach
maybe.
fuzz it gives springtime Gemini to me.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But it's
Yeah.
interesting because back in 2011, which I think the last time that there was this idea of alleviating stress, that hell of the year, 2011, when Neptune moved into Pisces,
Hmm.
was honeysuckle, a reddish pink meant to lift spirits and impart confidence to meet life's ongoing challenges.
Okay.
Okay. And then the year before that,
That seems
turquoise
foreboding. Okay.
to provide a comforting escape from everyday troubles of the world. So basically, like they're on brand. They
Yeah.
actually are on brand.
Are all of their colors about just like alleviating stress? It sounds like the same copy for
No,
each
these are
color.
just a few years. These are the few
Okay.
years that were the stress points. LOL.
Okay. Yeah. To alleviate stress. No, I mean, we're in a stressful time, but it's interesting. Life is a big cosmic joke. There is something
Hmm.
to be said about the fact that this is coming up during the re-rise of like topics of eugenics and fascism and
Hmm.
like my genes are great. Like you can't just ignore that. But also, I understand separately that they went with this color for whatever reasons to help people feel better or whatever. But it's white.
It's
It's unbearably white in this year of whiteness where, yeah, you can't overlook that. You can't see past it.
totally white. Don't stay white for too long.
That's true. Otherwise get soiled. That's
Gotta throw some color on it. Maybe they've just provided the container so everyone can fill in their own colors.
that's
Maybe
right. It's a blank canvas. Yeah, the
yes.
color of the year should be tie-dye. Could you imagine? The
You
right
could
would go crazy.
there would be a random segment of fish people who are like, yeah, we'll come together. Like we bridge divides, MAGA or not, we love fish and tie-dye. Like that is
There we go.
our value statement. Hashtag Pisces. But
Crunchy
I
granola.
mean, unfortunately, this was not the only controversial thing that happened, whiteness.
Okay.
In serious news, the only serious thing, well, actually, there's the Netflix thing we still have to get to, but this is the Supreme Court on the full moon in Gemini allows Texas to use redistricting map that was challenged as racially discriminatory. That will be coming into play for the midterms.
Yeah, this makes me think of in California, they passed something so that they could also redistrict. It's basically gerrymandering, but for the Democrats.
Yep.
It's a little bit of a worrying precedent to be set, and especially when you think about the Gemini Sagittarius background with respect to like how far is this going to go? Because now I think you're
Hmm.
just giving free reign for literally any state to color in the lines how they want to. It's also
Hmm.
very
Pantone.
Geminian. Yeah, Pantone, but also very, I don't know, Sag
Tit
Gemini
for
makes me think of
tatness.
like tit for
Mm.
tatness, but also like global local, or like the way that the local
Mm.
things kind of help decide like the broader kind of
Oh,
things that happen in America. And it's like now what's happened in California, even though it's like for my politics, and what's happening in Texas, even though it's against my politics, they're both kind of saying this thing of like now people can just redraw anything. And I think that's a liability
hmm.
of SAG when there's like no limits. And
Mm.
you're using the law maybe even to pardon, right? Just going over and beyond, right? What is
Yeah.
right. So that's the first
Right.
thing that came up. These Gemini things, man, they're so squirrely.
It's very
They're
yes and.
trickstery. Yeah.
It really is pushing you to expand how you are approaching it because the moment you are so deeply committed to that belief of yours, not to say that it's not valid, but you have to be aware of what other people are saying. Just aware,
Mm.
not this is the only truth. You kind of start to see, holy shit, we're actually just mirroring each other. We're doing the same thing on the other side in benefit of my belief system, which I believe is the right belief system, which may not be the right belief system to you, but we're basically doing the same thing. And it's like an uncomfortable truth,
Very
admittedly.
uncomfortable. Yeah. And one of the ways I look at Mars and Gemini in the United States Sibley chart is that we are a country of factions. We're a country that likes
Mm.
to break down into smaller groups. And I'm seeing now the opposition between this Mars and Gemini and Mars and Sagittarius in the sky is like what happens when we respond to that divisiveness or to that fractalization with legislation. Now we've kind of
Mm.
made it law or we made it a thing. Now it's going to persist. And yeah, and the way that Sagittarius can sometimes be sticky, right? It writes its way into like the moral codes or systems or government and
Bullies its
politics.
way.
Yeah, it bullies its way in to making it the status quo or like whatever it is that the governing theory of everything is going to be. So it's again,
Mhm.
it's just like very worrying. And you can see here how Mars opposite Mars isn't necessarily a conflict, but you can see it as a seeding moment of conflict growing later on. Like you
Mm.
can see this as like this is maybe bad. If you're seeding something on a Mars opposite Mars moment, even if the moment itself is fine, think
Mm.
about what it's seeding because it's likely discord in the future.
Totally,
Right.
especially with that Mercury station, as you called out, ruling this Gemini full moon, trining into the natal Mercury retrograde as Jupiter is on the Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
Ah!
Make it like worse.
Make it rain
Oh,
and
yeah, when it
not the
rains,
way
it
we
pours.
want.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, keep that note in mind for next week when Neptune does station direct, because Arctic
Mm,
blast hitting, winter wet, wet, it
yeah.
will be raining. Let's just put it that way. The other big last thing of the week, Netflix. Netflix is now the big giant in the room.
That's crazy. They bought Warner Brothers, like
Oh,
WB, which was like the inception of what like media in Hollywood and America, and this streaming company that's been around for what, 15 years. It's like, you're mine. That's crazy.
insane.
That's so Pluto and
Insane.
Aquarius.
That is so Pluto and Aquarius. And, as I was telling you, like, I wanted to see the evolution of Netflix before this moment because it's kind of amazing to think that from Pluto, I guess, in Scorp, no, they were a Pluto and Sag generation. Yes, early
Yeah.
degree Pluto
They're
Sag.
Gen Z.
They are Gen Z. until now, they're going through their Saturn return. This is their Saturn return moment, effectively, because they are a Saturn and Aries baby.
Ah, yeah.
And I only found that out because I did a K-pop Demon Hunters episode, which comes out, well, it's already out technically when this episode drops, but like K-pop Demon Hunters being one of the Saturn and Aries defining moments for Netflix is kind of really wild that Demon Hunters and Saturn and Aries is like, that's the return on top
Yeah.
of we are now the biggest player in the room, Saturn and Aries.
Wasn't it that they counted K-pop Demon Hunters out, like it was not prioritized, and then they
Yes.
released it and then it became a phenomenon? Interesting.
Yes, they were like very underprepared to actually
Ah,
capitalize on it off the bat, and then when
got
it
it.
surpassed expectations, that's why you kind of saw the October build up. And so like Huntrix, I think they're even performing at like Dick Clark's New Year's Eve celebrate.
Mm.
They were at the Thanksgiving Macy's, which tears, sob, crying, so good. Such a great movie, honestly. Like 10 out of 10. No notes, except for the fact that the sequel's coming out too late in 2029. But
Don't even
literally.
announce it if it's going to be far in the future. I'd rather just think it's not coming than wait that long. Damn.
3 years. Duh. But Netflix, so again, this was not the first iteration of Netflix disrupting an industry. When they went into streaming, that was like a kind of a huge deal. That was 10 years after they started the movie rental DVD business. And so in 2007, Jan 16, 2007, what are the transits that I'm like literally just also looking at the first time? Oh, hello, Sun Neptune. Oh, that's cute.
That is cute. When you say disruptor, it's again one
Mm-hmm.
of those triggers for like I'm looking for where Uranus is. So
Mm-hmm.
then I'm looking for was there Uranus kind of activation and look at all of those planets in Aquarius with its Uranus and Aquarius and Jupiter and Aquarius. So that does say something about like this is a good moment to broaden our
Mm-hmm.
appeal, right? Or to make something larger. So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of tracks, especially Venus
Yeah.
Neptune conjunction for the new way that we consume media for real.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And on the natal Jupiter,
Yes,
like,
getting bigger. Yeah.
wow. They're retrograde too. Like, Netflix is counterculture. Netflix, yeah, like my partner said disruptor, and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, they are the ultimate film disruptor, even though I kind of view them as like one of the players, because like you think about Netflix, the stock, it's such a giant media company. You don't think of them as the
Yes.
little guy, but they really actually still are the little, or they act like the little guy.
Yeah. Yeah. They remember where they came from. Their roots,
Yes.
their humble roots.
What do you make of that Mercury North Node? This is another Mercury Sun thing. Holy shit. We've
I
like
like
had,
in these things, we always see the same chart patterns over and over again. This is not planned,
yeah.
folks. This is divine providence. We are meant to be
Literally.
talking about this today.
But like,
Okay.
what does that even mean? Like having Mercury Sun for a media company like that. What would you say you're supposed to do as part of your purpose because it's tied into the North Node?
That's true. Well, it's in Virgo, so the first thing I think of is service, and this is a streaming service, right? It's kind of how it's conceptualized. But I do see it being like a big emphasis on like you're meant to communicate or change the way something is communicated, or in some way like language and messages, because I'm thinking about Mercury gets
Mm.
like highlighted in some way. But
Yeah.
it's a Mercury retrograde, and I think there is something subversive about any planet that is retrograde, doing it differently, doing it well, right? In
Mm.
Virgo, but doing it differently or doing it like in your own way, but doing it excellently. They got it down pat, I think.
Yeah, they really did. The other transit that I've now pulled up is the House of Cards release, which was the first time Netflix started foraying into original content, which is wild to think 2013 was the start of that.
I
Um,
remember that summer when Orange is the New Black came out. I was like, what do you mean all 12 episodes? Ah!
like rewired the brain and
They really did.
processing.
Oh my God, rewiring the brain for Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun, like
Mm,
rewiring the brains of your consumers, if you even want to think of it that way. But yeah, the
yeah.
House of Cards release with Sun and Aquarius on Jupiter, the natal
Oh.
Jupiter. So it being their first original thing
Hmm.
is very Aquarian. And we see the reinforcement of like Mercury seem to have came back around. Like it was there during when they went to
Oh,
streaming, and it was there during their first
yeah.
original release. So there's something about Aquarius, their fourth house. I don't know if this is okay, not a on-time chart, but there's something about Aquarius that's
But
good
it
for
feels
them,
so good. Oh my
doesn't it?
God. It's interesting too because Venus is on the Neptune. So that Sun Neptune was when they moved into a new identity. And now Venus, how we
Hmm.
relate to people,
Yeah,
as well as our creativity and
this
doubling
is my
down.
offering. Yeah,
Yeah. Very interesting. I mean, the moon also, how cute activating the natal Venus in Libra.
it's a full moon moment
This,
too.
oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Saturn on Mars. See, Malefic's not necessarily doing so bad. Saturn and
And
Mars.
and it just describes the nature of the show. Corrupt politics. House
Oh,
of Cards, right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Corrupt DC politics. So,
Do you
yeah.
think it's interesting that that was the choice of the first original series? Is that an indicator of something deeper?
Do you think they're like angling at something? Like,
More like, are they embodying that
yeah, I think I
fear?
understand what you're
You know
saying.
what
It's
I mean?
like
Because it's interesting now. It's like a whole Monopoly thing.
it is a House of Cards. That show really revealed like how disgusting politics can be and how like
Hmm.
politicians can. And I know it was like so dramatized,
So good
but
though.
so
Ugh.
good though. Sorry, like Kevin Spacey was in it, but he was good when it was good. But
Did
yeah,
you see
something
though? He's
about
trying to
like
come back.
yeah, he's been trying to come back since last year though, girl.
He's like homeless in Croatia or something, but
I
he's like,
know. Well, too bad you shouldn't do
he's
that with your power. Like I don't care. Sorry, white
not
man.
homeless because he's staying in hotels and Airbnbs. Like he has like a roof over his head still. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I can't be whatever. But I think of Netflix as maybe unwittingly adding to that conversation and to the radicalization of folks who watch the
Mm.
show. Like wanted to get into
Mm.
politics because of that show,
Oh
even if
yeah,
they themselves weren't making a statement. That's
that
how it
is
was taken.
fair.
Yeah.
I need to know if Veep came out after House of Cards because Veep is
No, Veep was before. That was like
was Veep
2008.
before. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Veep is like my
So
all-time
funny.
favorite political. Well, that and West Wing. Like I go back and forth if I need to like go back to
West
like when things were good.
Wing.
But it is interesting because we do again have the Mars Saturn square coming up on Monday. So this deal also includes a break-off clause, like they're willing to pay Warner Brothers like 5.8 billion if the deal doesn't go through for whatever reason. There's
Oh no.
backlash already and it's very Mars Saturn coded. It can indicate a long-standing ambition that finally crystallizes. But then again, it also can talk about like delays and restrictions. And so you have Christopher Nolan, who's the president of the Directors Guild, I
Mm.
think trying to take a meeting with Warner Brothers. People are not taking this lying
I'm gonna
down.
say, and so what do they not like about it? Is it just like monopolizing? Is it that
Yeah,
or taking the art out of it? Or like what are people angling at? What that don't they like?
yeah, there's multitudes, Gemini and SAG, but the
Mm.
idea of, monopolies not ultimately being good for the consumer, but then you're also thinking about movie theaters already not packing with audiences and how Ted wants to close the window of exclusivity for movies to be played in theaters before it hits
Ah,
streaming, and he
uh-huh.
wants there to be more synergy and simultaneous
I don't
cast.
ruin the theaters. I like going to the theaters.
I know I do too, but here's my thing. I was talking about this with my partner. Would we be in this situation if people actually did go back to the movies? Like if theaters were actually full and if the studios were truly putting out content that people wanted to see, like Sinners, like
Mhm.
original content. People don't go to the movies because we don't want to see another superhero movie.
Okay, that's fair. Part of it is we don't go to the movies because we want quality, and part of it is maybe we don't go to the movies because we have like everything at home that we could ever want. But you're right.
Hmm.
If the studio stepped up and they gave us something new and something different, if they played the Netflix handbook, right, got in
Hmm.
their Aquarius bag, maybe we'd be
Yes.
in line eating our popcorn and like packing the theaters. You're so right.
Which
The
we
American
have
populace
done.
is smarter than people give it credit for. But yes, I
Yeah.
digress.
But you know what? It's like it's almost like, oh, now we're gonna cry about it now that everything is gonna get rolled into this. But again, you go back to the OG studios. Hey, have you been giving the people what they want? And the people
Mhm.
are showing you what they want. So the buying power, therefore, will go to Netflix because you're giving them original content, you're giving them global content, you're giving people content that wouldn't have been made anywhere else, and you are now bringing it to one streaming service. Like, the fact that this streaming industry really ballooned during COVID as well. We are in a new paradigm. It's a very uncomfortable thing to acknowledge. I mean, I go to the movies a lot. It's expensive to go to the movies now too.
Yeah, it is.
Like $20 a ticket in New York.
Damn. Girl, come on
Correct.
down here. We play like 13.75. But
Ah!
it's still a lot. Maybe that's the New York City surcharge because you get to be in a cool place.
Oh my God. But like, you know what? The theater I go to has to give me so many BOGOs. Don't go to this theater. I talk. But like they give me every time I go, they'll give me a buy one, get one free. And I'm like deeply
Yeah.
paranoid that it will close because not enough people are going. But however, every time I try to fucking go see a movie and it sells out, I'm like,
Seriously, like, why are you guys here? Go stream.
literally. So I
I was
know.
also thinking about like, is this going to cause down the line issues for actors and like their, what do
Yeah.
they call? Come on, the money that they get when things get played. What is that
Yeah.
called?
The royalties.
Royalties. Because
Yeah.
wasn't like during the big strike that happened when Saturn first entered Pisces and it
Yeah.
like
Writers
killed the movie?
Guild.
Yeah, so it made me
Yes.
wonder like wasn't Netflix like not paying those things out or they because it's a streaming service like the actors don't get as much money from streaming. I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a complication, but it's interesting that it bookends the beginning of Saturn in Pisces and now the end of Saturn in Pisces. Obstacles in the industry.
I saw a thread. Someone said I used to work at Netflix and Ted when he was or he's CEO, he said the goal is to become HBO faster than HBO can become us.
That's what they say at the company.
That's what Ted said, the
Wow.
CEO.
Okay.
Isn't that something? Isn't that like a
Yeah. I mean,
hmm
it's you can see they're not prioritizing art, media, or entertainment. They're prioritizing being the head
being the
honcho,
best?
being the best.
That is Chiron Aries in Chiron Eris conjunction in Aries.
And we all hurt for that later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do we feel like this is gonna be ultimately a terrible thing for all of us? Like with the way AI is going?
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think it bodes well. Make the movie studios, like make that a separate and existing establishment that gets to exist. I don't
Yeah.
know.
The other side of it is, Hollywood studios, they're outdated. Their
Yeah,
legacy, right? They
it's
are
true.
so entrenched in the dynasty of America. You think about the glitterati, right? Like maybe the studios need to know they're not as empowered as they think, and maybe it needs to be more democratized. Maybe the idea is a decentralization around films, even, right? Not
Yeah.
just at Netflix, but someone else coming up with something to rival Netflix now that Netflix has become the biggest bully in the room.
Yeah, decentralizing film and then recentering the artists that bring
Hmm.
them to life. That would be ideal.
Ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anything else you want to say about this week?
I feel like everything that's been said has been said.
Oh,
I feel complete.
you feel complete? That's a Spotify wrap for you. Wait, what's
That's
your
my
age?
wrapped.
What's your age on Spotify Wrapped?
Girl, I don't do Spotify. Fuck that
Oh,
company.
you know
I'm
what?
Apple
That's a good
Music.
call.
I'm Apple
That's
Music. I know it's just the lesser of two evils, but they didn't have that calculation. They just showed me that I have autism and listen to the same five songs over and over again. For the third year in a row, Camille, you just listen to the same five things.
we are consistent, if nothing else. I had Sicko Mode as my number one song.
That's
LOL. Only,
is that a, like a is that a song that you get to like, get you into the mood to do something?
yeah,
Yeah,
totally,
that makes
totally.
sense.
It's
Yeah.
like when I'm like super, super depressed, like I looked at my playlist. I was like, I have I'll Do It by Heidi Montag, like early this year, LA Fires. I'm like, I need a hype up song. Sicko
Yes.
Mode, I just always feel like, yeah, yeah, 13 hours till I
Mm.
land. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this and
Yeah,
like
it
go
has like
hard.
a
Like,
driving beat too. My number one song for this year and last year was I'm That Girl by Beyonce. So yes, listening to music that pumps me up and makes me unafraid. That's why, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
I
it
feel
is
you.
spiritual. Do
It's
not listen
absolutely
to sad breakup
spiritual.
songs this weekend, everyone. Do not listen to
It's
sad
not the
breakup
vibes.
songs.
Venus is in Sag. It's time to listen to like
Mm.
Fergalicious.
Oh
But I'm
God.
feeling. But the times are not very Fergalicious. But we could still listen to the song.
Camille, so great to see you again. I'm sure we'll like
Thank you
have
for
one
having
more
me.
chat before the year is over or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, this is why you subscribe because we when we show up, we show up, but you don't know when we're going to show up necessarily. So
That's why we never said
weekly-ish.
weekly. We just said ish.
Weekly-ish.
Having emphasis on the ish.
Honestly, more people should do weekly-ish. You
People should just
know?
add ish at the end of things. Like, just give
Yeah.
yourself buffer room.
Yeah, Saturn and
Yeah,
Pisces. Flexibility in the
that's right.
container,
Yeah.
everyone. But nevertheless, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We will be back. Drop us a note. Bye.
Bye.